So welcome to another episode of Start, Grow, Monetise Your Podcast with him, James Burtt, and me, Alex Chisnall.
Oh, I thought you were waiting for me to do that. Alex Chisnall.
No.
Sorry, my bad. You can say your own name. That's fine. I'll allow it.
Say my name, say my... We're going to talk about today.
I will not allow singing.
Okay.
You have teenage kids in the house. They'll be embarrassed to death if you do that again, Chisnall. Never again.
Right, they will. I like doing that as well. We're going to be talking about today how to engage your customers using podcasts. So retention is the new growth, but few are doing this very well, in fact. So you can use podcasting for onboarding, for upselling, for loyalty. You can repurpose internal conversations as value-led content. You can measure the retention, the referrals, and the lifetime value that you get from that. And Mr. James Burtt is going to weigh in on this subject immediately.
I am immediately. Do you know what I think the biggest thing that helps to engage customers with
Me.
podcasts is the fact? No, not you. Ironically, that's quite the opposite. You're very, very bad for retention. The numbers fall through the floor. I think it goes back into like the buzzword of marketing for like 2023, 24, and probably still in 2025, which is everyone, community, build a community. But what most people do is that they think a community is just a bunch of people you can collaborate and put into one place or collate into one place and then just flog them stuff. You know, Facebook pages were like that for a long time. Facebook groups were definitely like that for a long time. I used to, in a previous business, we had and we fell into that trap, by the way. We fell into the trap of just treating it as a place to sell to everybody. We had a massively fast-growing Facebook group, and this was in 2017, 2018. So whether you could do it these days, I don't actually know. But we got to I think it was 16,000 members within 8 weeks or something. It really took off very, very well. And people, what was interesting is people in that community and in that Facebook group, it started off, you had to curate the conversation. You had to start the conversations. You were the linchpin for it. But very quickly, it was only within a matter of 3-4 weeks, the conversation started to spiral out from that. So in the context of utilizing this from a podcast perspective, I'm seeing this done really well. Run clubs, Untapped are talking about doing it. The one that's with Spencer Matthews, they're talking about doing
Paddle networking clubs are a big thing.
Paddle networking clubs are a big thing. So if you were utilizing your podcast and then driving people into that community, it works really well. Diary CEO have just launched something called Stan Store, because I think Bartlett has taken an equity stake in this company called Stan, which is almost like I don't know, what would you class it as? It's almost like Thinkific meets a Facebook group. It's like a place to have education behind. It's sort of like a Patreon, I guess, but a bit more structured and with a bit more substance to it. And I joined it just to see how it runs. It's like £6 a month. So it's like low individual cost point, but they've got, 5,000-6,000 people in there or whatever it is. And it's mainly conversations, really. It's mainly behind the scenes access. It's mainly making people feel engaged and feel like they're part of something. And I think this is a real big key to it right now in the world of marketing, whether you drive it via a podcast or any other means. I think because we live in this hybrid world now where you maybe go to work 2-3 days a week, maybe you don't, maybe you go into the office 1 day a week, but we've never been more well connected technologically, easy for me to say, and we've never been more disparate and separate in reality. People want to feel part, like you go to that social running club. There's no way you'll go and run in 10Ks on your own because you just haven't got the time, haven't got the inclination. And would you do it? Maybe, maybe not. But now twice a week you're doing 10Ks because you're part of that social group. Now, if a podcast could push you into that, you feel even more engaged with that community, and also conversely then engage with that podcast as well. So the podcast can feed the community, and the community can feed the podcast. Again, it goes back to what we often talk about on this podcast, which is being intentional with how you're setting that up. What you don't want to do is, let's try and engage, our listeners. Go over here and join our Stand Store. Go on over here and join our Thinkific. Go over here and join our Facebook group. And we're going to just post clips in there each day, or we're going to, we'll give you a 10% off voucher if you're talking about how you're going to utilize it for upselling and generating loyalty. That's not how you do it. You'd create a community of people. You'd give them behind the scenes access. You'd let them see the stuff that the other consumers are not. there's lots of people who are just happy to go to the gym in a Gymshark t-shirt. They're not that asked about the rest of it. But there'll be the mega members who want to go to the opening of the store. They want to see they want to be part of the production process. They want to be choosing the colorways and all that kind of stuff. And you can take people on that journey now. And a podcast, again, as top of funnel activity, is a great way to drive people into that place, in my very humble opinion. Just wanted to take a quick minute to say a big thank you for watching this podcast. If you are thinking about starting your own podcast to grow your brand or your business, then we would love to help you out. Yourpodcastcourse.com is a place where you can find 55 on-demand videos. There's trainings, there's blueprints, there's guides, there's cheat sheets, there's downloads. Everything that you need to utilize and to start your own powerful podcast is in there right now.
It's guaranteed for 7 days. So if you don't like it, we'll return your money, and we're going to start you off with a fantastic offer.
Absolutely. Just because you are consuming this podcast for a limited time only, for the first 25 people only this is going to be, we're going to give you 50% off yourpodcastcourse.com. Click the link that's in the show notes. There's information there, and it will be 50% off joining the course. As I say, we will walk you through how to start, how to grow, how to monetize your podcast. We'll talk to you about artwork, setup, names, ideal listener profiles, how to get the ideal guest, how you do the interviews, how you do the 14-day launch process, everything you need to utilize and to know to create a powerful podcast. We will tell you. We've done it 400 plus times. We have done some of the most successful podcast launches in Europe at this point in time, and the exact strategy and process that we charge tens of thousands of pounds to our agency clients for, you can get access to through yourpodcastcourse.com. 50% off for a limited time only. Click the link in the show notes now. Cheers.
And just to lean in on that, as they say in that kind of verbal parlance, I haven't mentioned it yet, but the event that I'm helping put on this October as a co-founder of the Festival of Entrepreneurs at the NEC, October the 8th and 9th, which James Burtt will be making a guest VIP appearance as well. So, conversation I was having with my founder, also called James Ashwood, and he was saying, yes, the buzzword is community, but exactly as we said, what people try and do when they do a live event is everyone goes to the event, listens to some amazing talks, writes loads of notes, meets some really cool people, maybe meets that one person who can move their business forward. And then they get home and all the energy just goes. It's like, what have I got to do now? Wait 12 months for the next event? Where do I go? And usually they come up with let's put it on the Facebook group. Let's start a Facebook group. And then they'll, just as you said, just start repurposing the content from the event, like in the lead up, and then the post event, they'll just start posting all the talks and stuff like that. And it's like, James said to me, the difference that we got, the superpower that we'll have, is that I'm relaunching Screw It, Just Do It, and Screw It, Just Do It will become the official podcast for the Festival of Entrepreneurs. It won't be an annual event. It will be next year a twice annual event. So there'll be London and then there'll be the Midlands. And in those intervening periods, you can listen to the guests who are going to be at those events and who have been at those events on the podcast. So you've been to the event, you feel part of that shared experience, and then you can go and take that online, knowing you're, again, being part of a shared experience with thousands of other people around the world doing the same thing. And likewise, those people who are listening online can decide to not just follow, subscribe, but go to the event live. See what I did there? Go to the event live and meet all these like-minded people who are listening to the same shows that they are, and going to see that person in person, meet that person in person, have a photograph taken with that person, ask that person a question as part of a Q&A. It's trying to try and turn that hybrid model of live events and ongoing podcast. But a podcast can be 100% part of that community for sure.
The other thing you can think of here is, again, being intentional with the format of content that you're creating. So in our example there, Screw It, Just Do It is going to be the official podcast of Festival of Entrepreneurs, which, by the way, guys, hopefully we're putting links in the show notes. We should definitely do that if we're not already. Go check it out. I think it's free to attend.
Correct. Free 2-day passes, limited passes. So go and get yours at festivalentrepreneurs.co.uk.
click the link in the show notes. We'll make sure the team puts that in because it's going to be a brilliant event. The lineup is unbelievable, especially like you would pay thousands to be in that room, let alone free. It's ridiculous. But so in addition to what Al is doing in terms of Scrooge Do It is a well-established #1 podcast in multiple countries around the world, has very in-depth conversations with the likes of Stephen Bartlett and people who are building very big brands and Lush and Piers Linney and all them sort of people. But if, for example, community is a big part of retention and engaging customers effectively, and attendees is a big part of it, then what Al could choose to do, and I'm just saying this live, we've not had this conversation previously, but what he could do is get listeners to start sending in voice notes of their main screw it, just do it moment, the moment where they had a challenge that they had to get over. He could include that then into the podcast. And this could be one of our listeners who's attending our Festival of Entrepreneurs. James has been in touch with the show and he told us about a screw it, just do it moment when he actually walked away from a seven-figure business in the coaching space because he worked out he's working with two ex-gun involved criminals. That is actually the backstory of myself. So there we go. So I can then send a voice note in. Now, if you're #1, if I then hear my section on our show, I'm like, well, I'm now part of that. I'm not just a consumer of that content. I'm a contributor of it. I'm a stakeholder in the brand. Now, I want to go and flag wave this brilliant festival. Likewise, other people who are listening to that content go, oh, I had a screw it, just do it moment. I would love to meet people like that because I think in a lot of instances you can listen to a Piers Linney, you can listen to Lush, you can listen to Bartlett, you can go, well, they've got it all together. They've already done the journey. What's really good for community is those who are on the journey together. So that's just one idea that you could do. And again, it goes back to what we always talk about, and we don't get bored of repeating this, or maybe you get bored of listening to it. I don't know, but I'm going to carry on repeating anyway. You need to be intentional with the content you're creating. Because yes, you can make an amazing conversation podcast, but is it going to drive community? Or could you, with a little bit more foresight, thought, and production and time and effort, which is going to take, could you integrate community more heavily into the podcast and therefore make it much more meaningful and much more engaging from the get-go?
In fact, I have thought of that before, and only because a mutual podcast that we both like by Jake Humphrey and Damien Hughes, that they used to, and I don't know if they still do, they used to have a segment right at the end where they would again share a voice note of somebody.
Did, yes, yes.
Who what were they doing? They were sharing again like a story of their own of overcoming something or other. I can't remember, but I did think, I wonder if and I actually mentioned that when I did one of my LinkedIn courses on community. I did say that is, I think I used that as an example that you could do something like that. And I thought, I wonder if I could do something like that. And then the thought's gone away. But the fact you mentioned it, I think especially tying it in with the event, that makes it even more relevant. And I think that's something that we should action actually, whether it's this side of the event or the other side of the event. It's something that should be done for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully you have found this conversation interesting.
One point just to bring up. Did you say stakeholder or snakeholder?
I said snakeholder. Yeah, I said snakeholder.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Okay.
Goodbye.